All right. Barbarian. Barbarians, I'm not reading through this again. Like, it's fluff, right? Like, they can put here that barbarians are shit. No one's gonna care. No, that's not true. People are gonna care, but, you know, we're not here to look through this. Even without the power of their rage, barbarians are skilled in combat, calling their rage, yada yada. Okay, so Barbarian, let's have a look. Main updates in this class since its last playtest version. Rage now regains 1 expended rage when you finish a short rest. Okay, sure. That's intriguing. Brutal Strike, formerly Brutal Critical, is a new feature that lets you trade the advantage granted by a reckless attack for tactical options. Okay. And then Improved Brutal Strike expands the options at level 13 and 17. So they've gotten rid of... Wait, they got rid of Brutal Critical. Okay. Sure. And then Persistent Rage now restores all uses of your rage once per long rest in the unconscious condition, not incapacitated, shuts off your rage. This is it? This is what they changed? That seems like an awful small list of changes. Or is that just me? Okay, hold on. Wait, first of all, seeing as we know this, there's something in the table. How many rages do you get, and has that changed since the PHB? Because now I'm curious. Because if they're giving us more rages, does that mean that we're losing less? Or like that that we're starting with less? I don't think so, right? This seems... Wait, so 2 up to level 3, yeah, then 3 up to level 6. From 6 onwards up until 11 you get 4. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. The only thing is in the original PHB, level 20 you had unlimited, which I still don't think is a bad change, but okay. So, okay, let's read through it. So, this hasn't changed. I think this hasn't changed since the beginning. I don't change these either, to be perfectly honest, but yeah. Barbarian class features. Okay, so you can imbue yourself with the primal power that is called your rage, a force that grants you extraordinarily might and resilience. Enter as a bonus action provided you aren't wearing heavy armor. While active, rage has the following effects: resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. Whenever you make an attack with the weapon using strength and unarmed strike and deal damage to the target, you get bonus. One question that I've always had is reckless. Reckless is still here, right? Yeah, okay, attack rolls on using strength. Okay. Because I was wondering, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, one thing that I was wondering about is does Barbarian really need to be strength based? I remember asking myself that question while I was redesigning the monk. It's a weird question, but yeah, it's something I was thinking about. Anyway, not important. So, still when you make an attack, weapon, or unarmed strike, I think they added unarmed strike in one of the previous bundles. Bonus to your damage, which hasn't changed. Advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Can't maintain concentration, can't cast spells. Rage lasts until the end of your turn. Ends early if you don heavy armor, have the incapacitated condition. When was the last time we got Barbarian? I think the last time was 7th, right? Yeah. Did they? Yeah, it was also incapacitated. I think it was in 5 where it was I feel like it was in 5 where they changed it to, where it was unconscious originally. Wasn't it? Oh no, it was also incapacitated. Oh. Okay, never mind then. If your rage is still active on your next turn, you can extend the rage for another round by doing one or more of the following. Make an attack roll, force an enemy to make a saving throw, take a bonus action to extend your rage. Wait. Hold on. Did they already... Oh yeah, they got rid of that. Oh, I forgot. I thought taking damage also extended it. But it's pretty much at the start of your turn. Yeah, okay, sure. Whether you take a bonus action to extend your rage. Yeah, okay, sure. So this hasn't changed. You can enter your rage the number of times shown for your barbarian level. Yeah, you can maintain it up to 10 minutes. We knew that. Enter your rage number of times shown for your barbarian level in the rages column of the barbarian table. You regain 1 expended use when you finish a short rest. So they've pretty much made it so you get back rages on a short rest. Or 1 at least. So I don't think this is a bad change per se. It's not even necessarily going to be abused because you only have a maximum amount of rages anyway. Like, you can't take 10 short rests and have 10 rages or whatever. That's not a thing. Also, I do think that this is a good change because one of the biggest issues that I've had with Barbarian personally is indeed the fact that they added... which one was it here? Primal Knowledge, right? Which, spoilers, but pretty much helps you with proficiencies and stuff. But it only helps you if you're raging. And they wanted to make rage an ability that you could use out of combat as well. So that Barbarian wasn't like a full combat class. Sorry for my chair. But then you ended up in the situation where I think I actually mentioned this, where it doesn't make sense for a Barbarian to spend their rages on that if they know that they're in the middle of a dungeon, right? So they're not gonna do that. They're just gonna run their rage and then hope that in the next 10 minutes stuff happens that they can use their strength or their rage checks on, really. So I think this is already gonna slightly offset it. Yeah, I think that's just going to slightly offset it. I still don't know how much use the ability version of Rage is going to get, but other than that, I think it's fine. Unarmored defense didn't change. Honestly, I think the Barbarian one is fine, personally. I have wondered if you want to, like, make this, like, for spoilers for my revised monk, I made this Dex and Strength for my monk. I don't know if I'd do that for a Barbarian, because you'd pretty much just be able to dump Dex, and you're never... I mean, I talked about the fact that you can kind of make a Dex Barbarian if you really want to. But you're gonna lose out on Reckless Attack and Rage, so you really wouldn't technically. I thought Reckless was just on melee attacks, but it's on strength attacks. I think this is fine. Weapon Mastery, people know that I have a very negative opinion on this. Yeah, 2 kinds of simple yada yada yada. You get your martial bloody bloody blah. I still don't like you. Danger sense. This hasn't changed. Reckless. Which version of Reckless are we on? When you make your first attack roll on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on attack rolls using strength until the start of your next turn, but attack rolls against you have advantage during that time. I still think this should just be when you make an attack roll, you can decide to attack recklessly. Like, yeah, honestly, I still think they need to do that. Like, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, this is mostly because of, like, Grog in Critical Role, where he, like, on his first attack, he goes, you know, not reckless, and then second attack, reckless, for people who've seen Search for Grog. And it gives you, like, one of the coolest moments in that entire one shot. I don't know, like, you don't lose anything except for the fact that, like, if you say when you make an attack, you could technically do it on a reactionary attack, right? But then you have, like, the trade-off, right? The only argument against it you could technically make is it's going to make barbarians need a little bit more time on their turn, but then again, you know, wizards are a thing. So, you know, details. Anyway, I think that's one change for Reckless that they could implement if they wanted to. Barbarian subclass, so Berserker, Wildheart, World Tree, Zealots, and then World Tree is detailed here, so we know that already. Primal Knowledge, you gain proficiency in another skill of your choice from the list of Barbarian skills available at level 1. And you can use, whenever your rage is active, you can use a strength check instead of the normal ability. Which, honestly, I still think this is a good ability. And I think with the short rests, recharge, this is going to be better and might actually be usable in Barbarians. So, good on you, Wizards. Ability score improvements, I'm assuming is still 4, 8, 12, 16, 19. And then, yeah, this one. I still don't understand. I still do not understand how a Warlock is allowed to have 3 attacks at level 11 and a Barbarian can't. I do not understand it. For the love of God, just change this already. Anyway. Fast movement, 10 feet. Feral Instincts, you have advantage on initiative. Instinctive Pounce. As a part of your bonus action to take to enter your rage, you can move up to half your speed. Oh, sorry, this is not yet. It's Brutal Strike. Brutal Strike. If you use Reckless Attack, you can forego advantage on the next attack roll you make on your turn with a strength-based attack. That attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d10 damage of the same type dealt by the weapon or unarmed strike. You can cause 1 Brutal Strike effect of your choice. You have the following effect options. Forceful Blow, they're pushed 15 feet away from you, and you can then move up to half your speed towards the target without provoking opportunity attacks. Hamstring Blow, the target speed is reduced by 15 feet. Okay, so Forceful Blow and Hamstring Blow don't seem like the most interesting parts of that feature. Right? I think the interesting part here is the target takes an additional 1d10 damage. Because I do seem to remember, if I recall correctly, in the other version, Brutal Critical was just you deal an additional 1d12 damage when you score a critical hit. So now here's the thing, right? So there's 2 things that I'm wondering about, and I do want to ask those, right? So one, it says you can forego advantage on the next attack roll. What happens if you reckless attack while you have disadvantage on your attack? The reason I'm asking this is because it says you can forego advantage. If you really want to be a dick about this, you could technically say I'm foregoing advantage because I just don't have advantage. So does that mean you can reckless attack with a normal attack and just still get the d10 damage, right? It seems like a really weird thing. I'm assuming that's not how it works. But the reason I'm also asking is because does this mean, let's say for a second, let's say that a creature is stunned. Let's say that you have a monk, they stun them. You already get advantage on the attack, right? If they say you can forego advantage on the next attack, does that mean that you would have to reckless attack and forego advantage? So you're still doing a straight roll. I'm assuming not. I'm assuming you just lose the benefit of reckless and still take the downside. Because remember, what you're technically saying here is you're still reckless attacking, ergo you're still taking you know, oh my god, I was gonna finish that sentence. You're still taking the advantage on attack rolls against you, right? So also, if you use reckless attack with the way that this is written, does that mean that you can only do this on the first attack then? Or can you do this on all of your attacks? I've got to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on how I'm supposed to read this. Wait, so if you use Reckless Attack, forgo advantage on the next attack roll you make on your turn with a strength-based attack. So that's only once, so you do this once. You can forgo advantage once, and then the rest you just still get advantage. So you... Okay. I don't know, it's a little weird. So the way I'm assuming this works is you get the 1d10 on your first attack. If you have advantage already, you can just take advantage to deal an additional d10 damage once. Because the rest of the time it's not going to matter. And if you have disadvantage, you'd still have disadvantage even if you reckless attack and do this, right? Because you're foregoing... That's how I'd rule it, like, you know, at least personally. But it's written pretty weirdly. So pretty much you'd be doing this for like 5 points of damage. 5.5 points of damage on average, which... I mean, it's kind of in line with Great Weapon Master, I guess, right? If you make an advantage roll, on average, you get a plus 3.5, give or take, to your attack roll. So pretty much you're giving up 3.5 for 5.5 points of damage. Which, you know, Great Weapon Master is like -5 on your attack for plus 10 damage. So it's similar enough, which is fine. I'm assuming they just don't want to break. Like, they don't want to break Brutal Critical, quote unquote, right? Like, I'm assuming that's the big reason. Like, because technically Brutal Critical is like, even with advantages, like a 10% chance to get a crit. Unless you have other abilities that back you up. Right? It's a 10% chance to get, at that point, a d10 damage. I mean, I'm assuming it's fine. Here's the thing, like, Forceful Blow seems okay if you're, like, surrounded, because you attack one of them, throw them back, go after them, and then you're no longer in the middle of the clump anymore because you don't take opportunity attacks. And Hamstring Blow is just good to make sure that someone you're chasing doesn't get away. So these are okay, they're just situational to a certain extent, I guess. Although technically you could like punch him into a wall and maybe deal some damage that way. So they seem situational, but they're not bad. Yeah. Relentless Rage. If you drop to 0, DC 10 con save. If you succeed, you get hit points. That's pretty decent. Brutal Strike improvements. You've honed new ways to attack furiously. Following effects are now among your brutal strike options. Target is disadvantaged on the next saving throw it makes. It can't make opportunity attacks until the start of your next turn. Okay, sure. And Sundering Blow. Your blow leaves an opening in the creature's defense for an ally until the start of your next turn. The next attack roll made by another creature against the target gains a bonus to that roll equal to your rage damage. Okay, so it has to be an attack roll. Oh, it's the attack roll, so they have more chance to hit. Okay. So it's a +2 to hit. But pretty much you're only allowed to use one effect, right? So either you take staggering or sundering. I mean, this is like never bad, right? Unless they die. And I'm assuming you have to call this... Do you have to call this before they die? Because if... I mean, to be fair, if they die, it legitimately does not matter, I guess. Yeah, if they die, it doesn't matter, because all of these things wouldn't matter, so... You know, this is never bad, right? Because I'm assuming, like, your allies are usually gonna get an attack, unless they attack another creature. And if your party is full of mages, then, give them disadvantage on their next saving throw. Who cares? you know, it's and they can't make opportunity attacks. That's not necessarily the most important part, but it's decent, you know. Like these are better. I mean, to be fair, they're a level 13 feature. They should be better than the level 9, but okay. 15 persistent rage. When you roll initiative, regain all expended uses of rage. Yeah, right. This was one of the changes we had, right? After you gain, so pretty much you get all your rages back. I think at 15, what do you add at 15? 5 rages, so it's fine. You get back 5 rages once, so you have 10. And it still lasts for 10 minutes. I know I've talked about this in the previous video. I still think persistent rage could have been fine as like an hour-long thing. I still think persistent rage could have been okay as an hour-long thing. I still think persistent rage could have been okay as sort of like a permanent thing at that level. I don't know. I legitimately think persistent rage could have been fine. I don't know. It's like now it changes if you're unconscious. Sure. Like, I mean, you can make the argument then if you make it permanent, then your barbarian pretty much becomes a skill monkey, right? Because they'll just permanently be in rage. But you have to understand, like, even then, even if you're in a permanent state of rage, first of all, you're level 15 at this point. You kind of want to be able to do a couple more things. Like at level 15, how broken is permanent rage going to be? Is my question. Especially because there are things like, I don't actually, does paralyzed make you, paralyzed doesn't make you unconscious, does it? Or stunned? Which features actually make you go unconscious? Just unconscious, I would assume, right? Yeah, just so it'd have. So I mean, I would be fine with them making it permanent, but still sticking to incapacitated, because that way you can like petrify them, paralyze them, just incapacitate them. Like, you know, I'd be fine with that. Because as a DM, you shouldn't be incapacitating your players that much anyway. And it gives you a little bit of like leeway against it. And then you can kind of just get rid of. Also, it's when you roll initiative. But then again, here's the thing. You know what I've thought about? How do you define rolling initiative? Right? The reason I'm asking is technically what I could do as a player is I could go find a rat, I could attack said rat, and technically my DM now has to have me roll initiative. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little hacky, I guess, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if this, like, when you roll initiative, it should just be like once per long rest you can regain all expended uses. I think it should just be like that, but that's my opinion. But I still think persistent rage could be quote unquote permanent. Brutal strike, extra damage, deals 2d10, and I can use 2 different brutal strike effects when you use a brutal strike feature. That's a decent increase. A little sad that it comes at 17, but details. If your total for a strength checker is less than your strength score, yada yada yada, sure. And your strength and con increases by 4 and your maximum is 26, which I think is okay. It's one of the better capstone abilities that we've had. Still not great, still not bad.